All right, so today we're gonna be talking about being a little stick man, a little twig boy. Yeah, this video is about kind of just me growing up skinny, like what that was like, falling back into being skinny after gaining weight, and my overall experience with the gym so far. Right, I'm gonna talk about being skinny first. So ever since I'd always been skinny. I'd always been the skinniest kid in my classes. I still remember it. One time, my doctor told me, like, you're in the 11th percentile for weight. I don't know. I just kind of just looked at her. I guess I didn't ask what it meant. But when we were leaving the office, me and my dad, right, I asked him what that meant, right? Like, what is the 11th percentile? He just looked at me and he said, that just means that 89% of kids your age and your gender weigh more than you. And I remember that made me feel like upset in the moment, right? Because I'd always been kind of be about my weight. Like I wasn't with it at the time, right? I was so young, didn't have any sort of body dysmorphia. But for some reason that just stuck with me, like that figure, and I still remember 89%. It just kind of opened my eyes to be like, I'm really not where I should be, right? And I don't know why I felt that way, because I never had any underlying issues, like health issues caused by my weight. I've always been healthy. How I felt about my weight got worse as I went from middle school to high school. People grew up, I guess. I saw the different ways that people were taking care of their bodies. I definitely became like one of the skinniest kids around. I think it was even more emphasized because high school, there's the gap widens between ages. Like you have me coming in as a freshman and seniors, like basically adults. I would see them, the seniors too, and all the upperclassmen, everybody pretty much, even other freshmen like my age, bigger than me. And it always kind of bugged me a little bit. So one day I ordered a single dumbbell off of Amazon, right? It was a 8-pound dumbbell, I think, the red one. It got my house, like I was so excited because, somehow I slipped into the gym sphere of YouTube. Okay, right? I started watching like videos, I think from, I don't even remember who it was. I think it was some dude named Sean. I had no clue what I was doing, right? I was in my room at my house just pumping out bicep curls, like thinking that was gonna make me fucking shredded and like ripped, all that shit. Which obviously is not how it works, right? You can't just rip like 60 fucking bicep curls and then expect your arms to grow, right? It worked for me a little bit because, I'd never worked out or anything before. It was just bicep curls, push ups, right? Fucking 15-year-old workout. And I got kind of bored with that after a while because I didn't see any results really. I wasn't tracking my reps, sets I do, my eating, anything like that. So I was just looking at myself in the mirror and I didn't see very much going on. That was back in the end of May of 2022. So I didn't see any progress for a while. I think I was still kind of doing it here and there for a year, like till May of 2023. And then I decided to like lock in. I was tired of seeing not much progress. So I locked in for like months, 2 or 3 months, right? I actually made some really good progress for like 2 months. I got new weights. I ordered two 15-pound weights instead of just the one 8-pound because it was getting too light for me. And I actually started doing more exercises than just the push-ups. That made me really happy. Because I was looking in the mirror and I was taking pictures, right? And I was like actually kind of confident in my body for like the first time ever. I think I weighed 130 back then. I think I was 130 flat, which was the heaviest I'd ever weighed. I think back when I started doing those like when I was doing bicep curls in my room, I was like 115 or something, right? Like 110. Maybe it was 100. I was in that 100 to like 110 range. Can't remember the exact weight, but I gained a decent amount of weight. That was 2 months, right? I was eating pretty well, and those were the newbie gains. And I started talking to my friends about it, and then I asked one of them like how much. Oh, like how much do you weigh? And he said, "Oh, I weigh like 150, like 160." What? Because like this person to me was so like he just looked like a regular dude. So it kind of popped my bubble, and that was no fault on his end, right? It was just basically I just got slapped with a reality check, and I kind of kept doing my same thing, right? Kept doing my at-home workouts. I'd never gone to a gym till the end of October when I went with two of my buddies, and that was my first time ever going to the gym, and we sucked ass.
Get in the car and get up there. It's a 6-hour drive.
All right, where was I? But it was a start to my journey, like my journey at the actual gym, because it was the first time I'd ever been to a gym or anything. I'd been at home working out like this whole time. It was good in the sense where it got me in there and I was comfortable because I was with two of my friends, right? So I wasn't really embarrassed or anything to try out any new exercises or equipment because they were kind of there embarrassing themselves with me, so it was better. But after a while, both of them kind of stopped going as often. So, I started going on my own since February 2024 till July 2024. I was going really well. Like I was going consistently. Started out at I think 135 in February, and there was some backslide that happened in weight a few times, but I got around to July of 2024 and I finally hit 150, 155, and it took so much fucking work, right? I was eating so much, like I had a calorie tracker app to help me, and I was eating like 8 eggs a day, right? And eventually I was eating so many fucking eggs, right? A fucking little notification popped up on the app and was like, you need to be watching your cholesterol intake. And I was like, what the fuck is a cholesterol? Which is so American of me. That's the most American shit I've ever said in my entire life. I scrolled down in the macronutrients of an egg, right? And I'd only been paying attention to the protein at the top of the list, right? Because I was like, all the videos and shit I'd ever seen on YouTube and everything was just like, protein, protein, protein. That is what fucking matters, right? That is all that matters. And then I scrolled down, and it has the percentages in like one egg. It's like 50% of the cholesterol you're supposed to have for a day. I was having like 8 suckers. I was having like a week's worth of my cholesterol intake in like 2 days. It was fucking bad. I laid off of the eggs a little bit. God had to nerf me somehow, but it had carried me far enough where I can make that final push to 150, 155, and I did make it in July of or last year, right? And then my life got shit. Something happened, which maybe I'll talk about at a later time. My life got a lot worse after July. My mental health got really, really bad. I got so much less sleep. My appetite went to shit, right? I stopped going to the gym for a while because I just wasn't motivated to do so or, in the mood or had the energy to do it. I was not healthy at all. Fast forward a year later, I slid all the way back 122 pounds. That is how much I weigh currently, which really hurts to say because my whole life I had this idea in my head. Each year that passes, like, my life would be better somehow, right, than the year before that. And that had been true up until last year, right? I always had this idea that from your teenage years to your late 20s, like until you get into your fucking middle-agedness, I don't know, until you get there, like into your late 20s, like early 30s, that you would get physically stronger. Like you would be better than you were the year before that and the year before that, right? Because that's just how growing into a man is. You get stronger over time, you get heavier over time, your muscles get bigger over time as you grow up, right? That's what being a fucking man is. And for last year, right, I went from like the absolute highest I'd ever been. I smashed my goal, right, getting to 150, 155, that I'd been thinking about ever since I hit 130 for the first time. Like I thought I was the shit at 130, and then that made me feel like I can go fucking higher, right? And to have hit that and then immediately backfall so hard, like backslide so hard. It really is just like you fell off, you know what I mean? And I didn't think that was gonna happen for like 20 more years, or not 20 more years, for like 10 more years or like 15 more years, something like that, right? Until I start actually like aging like shit. But I don't know, I guess I always had this idea in my head that, I'm not in my prime yet. Like I'm still building up to my physical prime, and for that kind of just to be challenged and pushed, just pushed further, like my physical prime to be pushed further away from me, messed with my head a lot. And it's still messing with my head a lot, even when I'm kind of out of that situation. Shit that I used to order at restaurants, like the biggest size, right? Just to throw some shit down. Like canes, for example. I fucking love canes. I have fucking canes on my wall, right? I used to get the caniac all the fucking time, dude. No slaw, extra toast, 2 extra cane sauces, a large Coke Zero, no ice. That'll be 1912, right? I fucking love canes. But it got even to a point during that time where I went down in my order size. I'm a fucking box combo pleb now, okay? Me, a fucking box combo? Who am I, right? Like, it's stupid shit like that, and my weight that I look at every morning, it all reminds me of why I weigh so little now, why I can't eat the regular servings that I would, right? I just don't want to have the body that I do right now. And I know that sounds so selfish, because I think a lot of people would love to have the body that I have. I'm not trying to sound narcissistic or anything about that. I'm just saying, like, I've seen what is possible for myself, and to now look in the mirror and be like, you're worse than you were in the past, right? You're worse off. Coming from that perspective, that ideology that every year you get better, I don't want to be 120 anymore. I don't want this anymore, and at this time, I can't do shit about it, right? My focuses are too broadened. Just focus on the gym all the time, be so intensely focused on what I'm eating. I don't track my calories or anything. I think now that I've gotten more out of that situation that caused this all in the first place, I will be getting better soon, but it's going to be really frustrating for me, I think, because how I mentioned that backslide, right? It's the same with going back to the gym after you haven't been there for like a week or something, right? And you do your same exercise and everything, but you can't do as many reps, or you can't even do as heavy as you want, right? As you used to. It's that same feeling caused by like skipping out on the gym, and it's a lot harder to rebound on your body weight than, you know, a fucking bench press max in the gym, right? Those will come back in like a week or two. It's always been hard for me to gain weight, and it's gonna be even harder now. My appetite still isn't the same as it used to be, and it already was low. So it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be fucking difficult. Not sure how I'm gonna do it yet. My current goal right now is by this time next year, exactly this time, July 8th, 2025, I will be back at 150 to 155 area, right? This time next year. And then I will be able to like just delete 2024 from my mind forever. 2024 to 2025, that summer, that year. Um, I'll just be able to fucking forget about that. All right, that's my goal.